Okay, let's start with Bitcoin. You can see that Bitcoin came right down to this level here in box B now, 9,000 more or less. And then we see those two green candles going upwards. Now, the expectation is that we are going to go upwards into this level here of $22,000 in this blue box. And I've dragged that box out a little bit. I'm going to show you now why. Because there's something that's just bothering me in these charts. Now, this is what we expect. Now, keep an eye on this blue line that I just put up there. Keep an eye on that blue line. I believe that that could potentially be a resistance point that could potentially take Bitcoin down to $8,000. I'm going to call this disbelief. Because think about this, guys. If you look on social media, all across the board, and I did a study on that yesterday, and I went through a lot of tweets, a lot of analysis, and I can't find that we are in disbelief yet. People are not fearful. People are thinking that everything's going to go to the moon, but we may come down to 8,000 Bitcoin at some point. I'm not saying that's going to be August. It could be maybe there. Okay, so I haven't got a date yet for you, but I'm working on this. Now, keep in mind that we came out and we said that we are heading up to $22,000. Yes, it's going to happen. I promise you that's going to happen. I can see it in our data. I can see it happening. There's so much strength in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Let me go into Ethereum, and this is where I picked it up in Ethereum. In this week, I was looking at Ethereum, and I was actually working from home, and I was checking data. And I suddenly realized that there's something here that doesn't make sense. Because remember, weeks ago, we came out and we said there's data that shows that they are going to collapse Ethereum. And the more I'm looking at this, the more the data appears up and it comes up and it comes up over and over and over again. And then I looked at this drop here and I'm realizing, but this is not the collapse. Because if they are going to drop it, we must have disbelief. This is why my theory is coming in here now, where I believe that we could potentially, and have a look at my mouse, it could go up here where we are now. Remember, we're having the spike now, and now Ethereum is 224. I believe we're going to break 250 and go up into this level here, somewhere here. And it could be this black dotted line. Let me actually just make, see if I can make that line maybe a, let's make it a red line. And then we know that is a line to watch, the red dotted line. Actually, let's make it a different color so we can just see it a little bit better. What shall we do? Where's the, maybe that one. Anyway, okay, there it is. See that red dotted or stripe line? This one here, the middle line of this channel. I believe that that is a support line. Now have a look at this line here, and I'm just going to make this blue so that we can distinguish between it. Let me just make it thick. Okay, so I believe that we could potentially come to this blue line and to that stripe line there, right at that point, somewhere close maybe. Bill Nolan actually on one of our previous webinars today actually mentioned that it could happen earlier. Yes, it can. Maybe here around by the 24th, 25th, in early next week, that we could have an uptrend here, a bit of resistance. And I'm just going to draw it in. Now, I know with you guys, we don't have to explain things too much. You do get it. But I'm going to show you here quickly what I think, what could happen. I believe that we could head up into this box, and then we could have a drop either here into this level here, okay, and it can go as low as 119. Now this box, let me just bring that actually forward here into this level here. It can go, believe it or not, guys, in our data, it shows as low as $119. Crazy stuff. So I want you to be aware of this. If this happens, we're going to find it out here, somewhere at that point. Now, overall, what we do expect, we still expect to go up into this level here of 511. I'm going to get into something shortly with regard to the Wall Street cheat sheet. You know, the emotions of people. Why I say, on the one hand, that we perhaps have not yet hit the low, and why we need to be careful. My data is actually showing the same. And I believe that these people that are running Ethereum, remember this, guys, they're only interested in Ethereum. The banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, digital assets, I'm naming them by name. And if they ever listen to this video, it's because I know what they are doing. I'm 100% sure. I've listened to them on conference calls that was given to me. And I probably shouldn't say this, otherwise they won't do these calls again. But let's just keep these videos private. Now, let's get into Litecoin. Now, remember this, guys, that Charlie Lee and Bill Nolan and I spoke about this just earlier in another webinar, is that Charlie Lee came out and said that he sees a $50 Litecoin. And suddenly it made sense to me. Remember this Charlie Lee, we have to take his words very serious. Last year he sold at $300 and he said that Litecoin is going to go to $20. I thought this guy was cuckoos, but it came down to $20. Charlie Lee came out. I haven't seen the tweet or anything, but somebody posted a copy of it to me, so I can't verify that it was true. But Charlie Lee came out and said that we are going to see $50 Litecoin before we go up and see $1,000 Litecoin. Now, again, when there will be disbelief in the market is when Litecoin hits $50. Think about this now. At $80, $79, is there disbelief in the market? No. People are already buying their Lamborghinis and they're thinking they're going to make money. Disbelief has not yet happened. Now, let me bring this chart up quickly to explain to you. This is the Wall Street cheat sheet. I'm going to focus on this now. Euphoria. Euphoria happened last year, 2017, December, when people thought they're going to buy these $1 million homes, they're going to buy a boat that costs $50 million, and people saw these millions of dollars that they made. And then the market actually came right down to here. People had complacency, their anxiety as the market went, and most of you guys were there last year. Denial, we had panic, capitulation. Now look at that capitulation, okay? Look at where we are on the chart, and we're going to go back to Bitcoin here. Let the chart just load. See there? There's your capitulation event up till 15 December 2018. Let's go back here to this chart here. Now we've got capitulation here. And then remember very clearly, guys, last year, August, September, October, November, December, the anger that people had because the market was going sideways for months and months and months and nobody made money. The anger on social media was crazy. I mean, I got attacked by trolls, thousands of trolls. You know, we deleted them all and blocked them because it was just over the top. And people got angry because they they invested 100,000 on the top there. They came here to the bottom and they had $5,000 left over. Now, as the market went down to this point here, see this point here where depression kicked in. Now, remember back very clearly, because as human beings, we forget the negativity very quickly. That low point is here where we recommended to risk-averse investors and we said we can now enter back in the market. That low point there of 15 December, let me get back to this chart here, is that point there. Depression. Then the market went upwards a little bit, and many people have been calling this a sucker's rally. Now let's go to the left-hand side of this chart where I am now. I'm going to zoom into that area there and show you where I believe where we are at this moment. I don't want any of us to be caught red-handed. We have to be careful for what's happening in the market right now. I believe that we could either be there or there. Two spots. We can't be anywhere else. Now, my inclination is, I believe that we are there. That is the first thing that I believe. We are going to see an uptrend now in Bitcoin. there. And that is going to be perhaps a suckers rally, a fake breakout, where people are going to start buying, buying, buying. And I believe that there's one more drop coming. Why? Because of this word, disbelief. This rally will fail like the others. Guys, we have not yet seen disbelief. If it was the case that we were on the bottom, then all over social media, Facebook, as well as Twitter, as well as the Chinese social media that we are watching, there is no disbelief everywhere. People are so happy and they're thinking that the market now is turning around. Although the market dropped, there is no disbelief. For me, that is a worry. Because remember this, guys, this Wall Street cheat sheet always plays out. Doesn't matter what coin or what token or which Dow Jones stock you're looking at. They always follow these patterns. Apple does, Microsoft does, everything does. This is the psychology of the market cycle. It works like this, and this is in Bitcoin. As we came down from the top to the bottom, we are now here, and that disbelief, I'm saying that has not happened yet. When we head up into hope there, that will be 17,000 Bitcoin there, 20,000 Bitcoin there, and maybe there, 22,000 Bitcoin. And then it goes staggering up. That is 35,000. And then we head up as high as, in my opinion, of a total maximum potential point of $350,000. But somewhere along the line, 80. Let's focus on 80. That is at least the minimum that we see. And let me quickly get into that big view picture, and we can quickly have a look at that as well. Now remember this. This is the cycle that we are following. On the bottom here, just for those new people that came on board here, you can see here in 2011 that the market dropped with 85%, and as it dropped, it rose with 579. And then here in 2013, the market dropped with 81%, just to have another rise of 2,300%. If we look at this point here of 2013 up till 2015, that downtrend, this blue arrow here, the market dropped 88%. But from this point here, right to that high point there, the market went up a staggering 12,600%. Now we are finding ourselves here on 15 December where the market dropped 87%, 15 December 2018, and right now there, Bitcoin now is 10,500. A few months ago, it was at 3,500. Okay, so the next leg up is let me just clear this quickly here. The next leg up is this one, guys. The last leg, the fifth leg. That leg consists of 3 indicators. Those indicators, as all of you know, is this one here. That's leg 1. And then you get a drop, which is 2. Leg 3, upwards, a drop, till we head into that point there of approximately $350,000 by the end of next year. But we are going to break this all-time high very, very quickly, either in August, September, somewhere here. But I do believe before, long before mid-October. Before we head up in there, I believe that we are going to have a disbelief drop. Now, I'm rather warning you guys of this ahead of time so that we can take action if this happens. For me personally, for this market to go from where it is now, right up to there by 22,000 without having a drop sounds a little bit impossible. And if I look back at the history of Bitcoin, let's have a look here. There Bitcoin went, it went up, sideways, drops. Look at this, upwards there, big drop there. That drop was actually really, really big, although it was just in one day. But look at all these drops here from CC to DD. The market is not just going to go skyrocket upwards. I see some issues here potentially before we head into that point there. Now, Litecoin, I do believe that Litecoin, and I'm going to draw this quickly. Let me just get that out. I'm going to draw the brush. I believe that Litecoin could potentially go up here, either to this red line of 122 or perhaps to 129, 130, and then have a bit of a drop down into this level before, then shoots up and go back to this level here of 190. So nothing is lost. Remember, if you bought here on the high, you don't have to sell. Okay, you can simply ride out the wave. The market is still going to go to 190. But if this is true, that disbelief is yet going to happen, and let me put that there because I want people to see that disbelief can happen there. If this happens, it will create a good buying opportunity. Keep in mind that Charlie Lee also said that Bitcoin will go to 50. Now, I'm not basing my analysis on Charlie Lee's comments. I found out about his comments afterwards. Okay, and I knew about it, but I just didn't take that into account as a matter of fact, but regardless, our data does show a downwards move. Let's quickly have a look at Bitcoin Cash, and then I'm going to end this video and just cut that section out for people just to see the first part. Now, with Bitcoin Cash, we do see an uptrend here, a nice turnaround here. But look at this red line here going diagonal. It could be potentially that we hit a 191, 180, somewhere around there, Bitcoin Cash, before the market goes up. And again, if I were to draw that, it would look something like this. The market can go up to this blue line and then come down and then go upwards. Okay, keep it as a probability. That is a very strong probability. If that happens, it could push our timeline, the 15th of August timeline, a little bit out. But the point is that we will go up and we could potentially head into that level here of 1300. In that case, if it does happen, this becomes a little bit longer. That actually comes down a little bit, and I'll go and redraw these things, if it happens. But for the time being, let's keep that as a probability. Let me just go back here. Okay, keep that as a probability into this level here, that we could head into 465. Let me just quickly do XRP. Now, one of the indicators here in XRP, where's my other chart? Sorry, let me just bring up some algorithm analysis here. Sorry, I've only got figures here. Okay, this is the thing now. Yeah, in my opinion, with XRP, I do believe that we probably hit the low point. There is a probability that this can go up a little bit, come back again before it breaks out, something like that. But the point is with the XRP, we are really close to a breakout, very, very close. And again, that can be over a period of 14 days, 15, 20 days. So just keep that in mind. With Digibyte, I see a breakout in Digibyte. But again, we have not yet touched this red algorithm line. I was thinking that this line here would actually break down. But keep in mind that there is a probability that the market can do this. I want to see that one more drop and then where it goes up. Now, the fact that this also didn't yet hit the red line at the same time when Bitcoin dropped and Ethereum dropped and Litecoin dropped is a bit of an issue for me. That's why I say, guys, we have to be very careful in Bitcoin and cryptos. I do see that we potentially with Bitcoin, for example, could go up there, hit that point there, come down to this point here, hitting most likely the $8,000 level. It's unbelievable if you think about this. And then it shoots upwards. Okay, so with that regard, guys, I'm just going to stop the video here and I'll upload this for our members to see, and then we can carry on and let's go into questions. I think there will be a lot more value if we just ask questions.
I'm wondering on the Litecoin where you talk it might go down. Is there time? I realize you say we could just ride it out, but will there be time that we could actually take advantage of that and farm?
Yes, Christopher, it definitely is. Now, remember this, I'm talking about a probability. Okay, so, or the right term in English, what would that be? A possibility and not a probability? I think a possibility is the word. So there's a possibility that we can break down into this. I would rather come out, Christopher, and warn you that there could be a drop. Now, previously I said that we're going to head straight upwards. From this level here, we get up into that level there. But I don't see, I just can't fathom with what I've seen in the past in Litecoin as well, that we can go straight upwards. I want to see the disbelief. Disbelief has not yet happened. So the possibility, Christopher, what I'm saying is, if we head up into this level here, wherever that level is, I reckon it's going to be this line here, the red line. And let me just zoom in and make it a little bit more clear. This red line here at about, let's bring that down, about 120, could be the top of Bitcoin before we then drop. If that is the case, I'm probably going to sell about 30%. I'll take the risk and sell 30% there, because remember, the market can keep going upwards. But one of the ways that we can catch that is, let me show you this, Christopher. Remember, guys, let me just clear this up. I was talking about this heartbeat. Remember, I said that we must see the heartbeat in Litecoin. If the heartbeat doesn't arrive, then it means that we're going to see the heartbeat later. The heartbeat is this. It must look like this. As a matter of fact, this thing here, where it drops here, is not, it really doesn't look to me like a heartbeat. The heartbeat should look like this. It drops like this, comes back again, straight upwards. And I've drawn this many times over the last few weeks. It goes like this, and then it drops there. And then it goes sideways. Exactly like a heartbeat. This here is not low enough for me. And it's not a spike candle downwards to create the heartbeat. A heartbeat is spike down, spike up, sideways. So this is a bit of a concern for me. And if you go back to the old videos, you'll see how we drew that. So could it be that we head up here, that we head up here, spike down, spike up there, and that your heartbeat is there, and bang, then we take off.
Marius, would
That
you not
is
think
actually what I see.
Would you not think that a $50 might be post Litecoin halving? Because it always seems to dip after the halving.
And Marius, also on continue, do you think you will get an indicator if it dips down ahead of time, or it'll just happen swiftly?
It's going to happen very quickly. I believe in one day. I probably just didn't drew it right here, but
so Marius, hi, Shamsa. I think it might be quite dangerous to farm, because it could happen for the UK people. It usually happens overnight. So if we sell with the intention of farming, by the time the next day, it could have just shot up again, couldn't it? It could be too dangerous to farm. Just maybe hodl if you get the opportunity. Hodl and buy more at a cheaper price. Maybe is that the best?
What I personally am doing, and I know some people probably can't do it, but many of us here can. If you have extra cash, you keep the extra cash on the side, and you don't necessarily sell on the top there. Because remember, guys, I bought. You guys know that I bought. I think I bought here. No, where was it? So somewhere here anyway. I think I bought some Litecoin here in this region of about 120, somewhere around here. So I'm not going to sell that Litecoin. I'm going to keep that because I know the market is going to come back. Most of my cash will lie there. I'm ready to buy Litecoin at the dip. But I'm also aware that there are people that don't have extra money. In that case, guys, it's like Shamsa says, you have to be very careful, especially the UK. For some reason, you guys catch it wrong every single time. It's just really unfortunate. Whereas here in Australia, we just catch it right every time. And in America, sort of, you can catch it. But when you guys go to bed, the market moves. Crazy stuff, you know.
Marius, I just wanted to say, yeah, sorry to cut you off, Marius. I just wanted to say thanks for coming out and obviously highlighting that really and truly we're not literally just going to the moon, so to speak, just yet. Because I know that on the previous call, and we didn't before this last horrendous dip that we saw, where we thought that we were going to rise and then have a dip, which I personally had on some large leverage positions that I got absolutely brutalized in with this last dip. So thanks for coming out and obviously just highlighting this right now. I tell you what, I mean, I think that it actually marries up with obviously what literally I was saying, because one of the questions which I was going to actually ask you is that we do have literally a lot of resistance, especially in Litecoin, literally heading up into like the 125 region. And I wanted to obviously ask you, really and truly, how do we get past all of these literally resistance points to just blast straight through? So then it does actually, you have actually shed a lot of light on that.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, thanks for your comment. Just to get back to the question where people asked about the halvening, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Let's say the half of Litecoin, okay? Halvening. Okay. Regardless, guys, remember this: the halvening is built into the price of Litecoin already, long ago. You know, I don't believe the halvening is going to have such a big influence, but let's keep an eye on that as a possibility, you know. But regardless, you know, I'll tell you guys what I see in my algorithm. Now, remember, my algorithm kicks out numbers, and then I come back and I have to extrapolate these numbers here. This red line here that you see here is kind of the line, it's the downwards line trend. And remember, we've had this now for weeks and weeks, the downtrend line. And I believe that there's going to be one more drop. And I'm sorry to come out now after last week where we said, listen, we're heading upwards. But I'd rather come out and show you guys that we better be careful here. Something here in the cryptocurrency market doesn't make sense to me. You know, I believe we are going to have this. Now let's move that aside. Let's move that aside, guys. I want to see that heartbeat. The heartbeat has not yet happened. Seriously, this is the thing. When that happens, the market is going to move upwards. But now remember this. Don't yet sell when we get to that level there, which can happen early next week. The market can potentially break through. I'm only talking about a possibility, okay? But it's better to talk about the possibility. I don't want to come to this point here and then suddenly a day before the time, oh, guys, we're going to have this drop. And then we didn't prepare for that, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Marius, can you ascribe a percentage probability to the drop happening or not?
Okay, that's a good question. Look at this, guys, disbelief. Okay, now, social media. I'm talking about 3 indicators. Number 1, Twitter. Number 2, you'll see Facebook. And then the Chinese social media that we follow. Crazy stuff, okay? Now, remember this. I've always said to you guys, sometimes I will tweet something out and it may not look, you'll probably think I'm dumb or stupid. Okay, there's a reason why we sometimes tweet things out, because we have a look at the analytics. If you right click on your tweet, you can see how many people saw it. And with our facility that we have with Twitter, we can see more data. They give us more data. We can see the interaction. We can see how long people viewed it. So, and we can see if people just scrolled through it. So now, anyway, regardless of that, what I'm trying to say is we've got more data that we can look at. I don't, in social media on Twitter, find any disbelief in the market yet, or remotely that people are thinking about disbelief. Everybody now in the market, as of the last 2 or 3 days, everybody's thinking that this drop is brilliant. It's awesome because they can buy and now the market is going to skyrocket. Whereas in effect, people should actually think about this drop as a disbelief drop. They should start fearing it. You look on social media. Now, let's have a look at Facebook. Facebook is exactly the same. China, the biggest dominant market, they think that cryptos are going to the moon. There's no disbelief there. Now, what does the psychology show us? The psychology of a market cycle. It shows that you must get to disbelief. Have any of you yet seen disbelief? Nobody has. There's your answer.
Marius, do you think that the disbelief needs time to consolidate, or do you think with the quickening that you've been talking about, that the disbelief will be a short period?
Disbelief is going to be a very short period. But if I say short, it could happen in a period of about 3 or 4 days. And then if it happens in 3 or 4 days, for that week, there will just be rumors all around Twitter. Oh, you're going to see Tony Vays and all these guys come out and say that Bitcoin is going to go to $2,000.
Yeah.
You can see they have poked their head out now, but it's not a full-blown communication yet. And they're going to start saying it more and say, I told you so. When those words come around, I told you so. I call this low before the low even happens. These guys that call for a 2,000 Bitcoin, they're going to have their day in the sun when Bitcoin goes to $8,000, most likely. Remember again, guys, I'm saying this is a possibility. This is one case where I can't say with 100% certainty that we are going to break down or break up. I'd rather give you the two possibilities and let's plan for those two possibilities.
Marius, David, yeah, can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay, Marius, I got into the market for the first time today, right? Thinking that possibly this might go up and don't come down again, like you've said in the previous webinars. Now, it seems like you've been right all along, except for last week's quickening had thrown a spanner in the wheels a little bit, right? So my point is the timing for this possible dip to the bottom, like you're saying now. I know you can't say exactly. I'm asking this question because a big part of my cash is coming available only on the 1st of August. So do you see that this drop will be quick or maybe sometime in August?
Okay, let's try and work it out quickly. And I haven't spent a lot of time on that. Is your name David?
Yes, die Suid-Afrikaner man. In Frankryk.
O, so jy bly in Frankryk, né?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's have a look at this time frame and let's quickly have a look here. I do believe that, let's just bring this up here. I'm on the daily chart. Let's have a look at this. Okay, our data shows here. Okay, first let's go back. Okay, let's have a look at these 53-day cycles. A significant break upwards. And bang, a significant break upwards here. See, they're exactly on time. So we've got the 53-day cycle. Tomorrow may actually be a bigger break upwards. The point is we're going to break upwards here. So can you guys see that? Okay. Now, that for me is a significant break, but it will be a better significant break if we break back into this yellow channel. If we tomorrow break into that channel there, then I'll be so happy because that will be the 19th in America, and that will be the start of this new 53-day cycle. This 53-day cycle ends on 9 September, where we're going to have another significant break, wherever that is. Let's say if we go upwards into this blue box, we may see another significant break. And let me just put a arrow in there, another significant break. So this now tells us that we are working within the next 53 days. Now, let's have a look and see what normally happens. If you look at this now, this break upwards here, exactly on more or less in the 53-day cycle, it breaks upwards, it comes down, it breaks upwards again, it comes down. Okay, so let's have a look at this one here. Upwards move, comes down, up, down. Okay, let's go and take, for example, let's go and take this example. I'm now going to go just more or less, and remember, this is just the indicator. I'm going to go to the bars pattern and just simply measure this. And I'm simply just going to move that over here to give me some form of an indicator of what can potentially happen. So in the next 53 days, you could potentially look at this. But because the market moves upwards, okay, this can be extrapolated as a little bit higher moves. So you can move that upwards. There's a volume indicator that you can use to actually quantify this. But the point is here, what happens here is very important to note. Let's only have a look at the high and low points. Let me put a circle here, high point, there. Let's make that just a dark green, make it thick. That's a high point. Let's go here again. There you go, there's a high point. And then up here, there's another high point. And then up here, or down here, we must have that. Now, in effect, now look at this, guys. This is A, B, C, D. You must have that. Now, let's move that away. Could it be that this one comes a little bit lower? Because this belief must be lower than that. Then it means that if we take the same principle, then we're going to say that the low point here, just for the guy who asked that, is 1 August, 31 July, 1 August. That is potentially the low point. Now, with the speed up of time, just to remember this, it can happen very, very quickly. This high point here, and I agree with Bill Nolan, just on one of our previous webinars, we were talking about the 24th, 25 July is the high point. Do not be surprised if this comes down to the end of the month, 31 July. So if you are in August, now remember, we can still shoot up here in 14 days upwards to these levels here of 22,000 Bitcoin. That can be a violent move upwards. But I'm saying here, I want to come back to this date here of 9 September. If you take this date here, if I move this over to our 32-day cycle, this is the 30-day cycle towards 15 and 18 August. The latter part brings us to 19 August as the high point. Now, if we're going to drop down, this line, obviously the 15 August, will move on to 19. But let's keep it there, the 15th now. And remember, guys, what I said, and just for the caller who asked that question now before, I'm never ever claiming that we are 100% correct. We've made terrible failed calls, you know, but what I'm giving you, remember what my business name is, Bitcoin Trend and Forecast. We do trend analysis. Like we can predict with our algorithm what will happen in the oil and gas industry. It's all about possibilities and then probabilities. And we make wrong calls in the oil and gas industry as well. You know, like we can predict when there will be fatalities, how many fatalities, how that fatality will happen based on previous data. If our previous historical data is wrong, then we can have a wrong result as well. So I'm giving you a trend here, and use this data to do your own research. This should not be your be-all data. Although this is all that I use to trade, and I'm making incredible money here, I use this because I'm aware that I can be wrong. And you also should be aware that I can be wrong. One wrong call, for example, was last year in March and April, where we said that Litecoin is going to hit 1485. Yes, somewhere in 24 March or 24 April. It didn't happen. It's a complete failed call. So we can be wrong. And if you go to the front of my website, we state there where our wrong calls are. But I think you'll appreciate it a lot more like today, where I come and say, listen, whoa, we have seen an uptrend, a spike into $22,000. But now today, be careful. We are seeing something else. Guys, this market is changing so quick that if you blink, you miss things. If I don't do analysis every day, I miss stuff. And this is what I told you guys also now, that going forward, Bitcoin will be different. Litecoin will be a different play. Ethereum will be different. Bitcoin Cash will be different. Each coin is now going to run on its own and have a different analysis. They won't all move up and down at the same time. And you're going to see here from August that this is true. Then also the other thing is dates. You can't have dates correct anymore. Nobody in the world can. And there's a lot of confusion in the market, and this is why we need to be very, very careful how we trade,
Marius.
what we do. But overall, the trend is going upwards. Yes, Parvus?
Yeah, good morning to you, by the way, and good, hello to everyone on the call as well. But first of all, I'd like to say thank you for what you're sharing. I'm actually very happy to hear what you're saying, because in a way, I mentioned it in the last webinar that we had, or you had, that if Bitcoin did go up the way you explained last week, it just structurally would have been bad for Bitcoin, and they need to go down further down and to correct this last move that we've had. So what you're sharing today makes a lot of sense. In fact, I left a WhatsApp message which I don't think you read yet, but please read that after. So yeah, I'm very happy to hear what you're saying today. Now, my next question is, where do you see you've drawn that blue line on Bitcoin. Where do you see this price hitting this time around before it dips down to that disbelief price that you have?
Thank you. That was also my question.
Are you talking about Bitcoin or?
Bitcoin, yes, yeah.
Oh,
and then we go to Ethereum as well, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Bitcoin
you mentioned that, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Parvus.
No, I said you mentioned that Litecoin could go to about $120. I just want to know what you feel Bitcoin and Ethereum will go to.
Okay, look at this. Can you see this blue line here? That blue line is the figure of about 1268. Let's say 12,600 or 12,800. That is where we see the maximum point. What I can tell you, Parvus, look at this. Okay, let me show you how I'm going to play this. See that high point there? If you take a line to that next point there and you pull that line right through. Now I'm just going to make it a thin line because I like these thin lines, but you may not see it very well. Okay, now I've touched. Let me just make this bigger and then everybody can see it. Is that clear enough on everybody's screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Now see that high point there, the high point there, and then it comes down. It's going to be very difficult, very difficult for Bitcoin to break this point here. And incidentally, that comes out here to around about 21, 22, 23, round about that date there. Okay, it won't happen there. Let's just move that on. And let me put a price label in there. 12,657. When you get close to that level there, we're going to watch it. Now, this is what you do. You watch it. If that stabs through, that means it's broken that resistance line, and it will go through and through and through, and then we know we're away. And then we don't see a drop. Okay, now let's go back to Ethereum and see where Ethereum is. Now Ethereum, we've got this middle line, works a little bit different than Bitcoin. We've got this line here, that is the middle line of the channel. Every one is different. You can't say the same info that's happening in Bitcoin will happen in Ethereum. We could do it last year. For some reason this year, it just doesn't work like that anymore. Now, that line here, if we take the data of maybe 23, 24, we are going to look at that level there, and I'm going to pull this line down there, and you look at about probably around about 332. It's going to come wherever it comes up to this resistance of that stripe, red stripe line. That is your resistance. Now, this line here, see this, let me just make this a different color. What is the one in Bitcoin? That is blue. I'll make this one a dark blue as well. They've just changed all these colors here. Have you noticed that as well, Parvus, all these changing colors with trading
view? With TradingView, yes. Yeah. I prefer the older ones.
Yeah, they make everything so complicated. Now, see that blue line here? Around about there, I would probably say a good target is about 332. Okay, so keep that in mind. Litecoin about 120, because Litecoin's resistance line is this red line here. And that comes from my algorithm data. So there's no way on just this chart that it actually works. But one way that I'm just quickly having a look at it, just for those people who wonder where the resistance comes from, it's basically that resistance there and a big amount of resistance there. I'm just seeing it now. It's not something that I didn't put the red line in because of that, but my algorithm resistance line is 121. So I believe it can come up to that point there. If we break through, then we know we're going to go higher. But if it drops down, bang, you're going to get maybe $50 Litecoin. The other thing is also part of us, see this, guys, that I'm saying it again, you know, that heartbeat. This doesn't look to me like a heartbeat. The heartbeat is still yet to come. I tell you what, guys, it looks to me like we are going to see disbelief. The market is in for a big surprise. Yes.
This is worse. Can you go back to Bitcoin, please? So this blue line you've got, where is this from? Is this from your data?
This comes from my algorithm data.
Okay, because it's not like a technical analysis of any kind. Downsloping line, yes, I can see from one peak to the other. That makes sense. But not this, the other line.
Yeah, the blue line,
okay.
This line here, Boris, there's nothing in technical analysis that actually gives you that figure. You can do Fibonacci, you can do whatever, it doesn't come up.
And so you think they will get third top, essentially? 3 times it will be rejected. It will not break all-time high.
Well, it could. Remember this, and I just want to give this caveat as well. And remember, guys, I'm only presenting a probability here. You know, it's or a possibility. It could come up here, and then will be rejected, and then break through. But unless if we don't see a breakthrough higher than these points and higher than this point here, then expect maybe a downtrend. But if it doesn't break this point here, and you'll agree with that, Boris, you know, if it doesn't break these 2 levels here, first that one and then the second one, then we're heading downwards.
Yes, absolutely. It's a rejection at that point. And you have 12.6, what is it, 657?
Yeah, this one here is, it's about 12.6, 12.7.
So it would be a good idea to essentially put protective stops if we get to that level. Whatever position you're in and whatever amount you want to protect, your gains, if you have.
Yeah, and
remember, I was buying on the weekend, and thank you for a Friday webinar. It's just amazing how you called it. And, you know, the same with Litecoin. I was able to get out at a little over 100 and pick it up again at 84, 83. Same with, well, Bitcoin, I bought a little bit early. My average was like 10,300, I think. But now, if we're going to get another chance, you know, at another farming cycle here, that's pretty good. I just need to protect, I guess, certain positions.
Yeah, and you know, things change so quick. Bill, I wonder if you can shed some light on your data that you have, Bill Nolan.
Again, mine is not technical analysis. Mine is just based on some astrological aspects that I follow. And, you know, we've just come through some pretty important solar and lunar eclipses. And it was the 16th, I think, was the lunar eclipse. And basically, we closed out a 6-month cycle. So you go back 6 months prior to see where the market was. And where the market was 6 months ago was down. It was down, and it was kind of just, it was down and it was just flat. So not necessarily would the prices have to go as low as they were 6 months ago, but it's more the trend. What was the trend 6 months ago? Well, we've come full circle now and we've closed it out, but the effects from the eclipse are still felt for the next 6 months as well. So that's what I looked at. And sure enough, on the 15th or 16th, you know, we had definitely market movement downwards. You know, the next thing to look for is the 22nd through the 24th, possibility of jump in prices. But then it's like a balloon being blown up. The prices will skyrocket, and then the balloon pops and the prices come down. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for in the next week or so. And then we'll go into August.
Okay,
again,
thank you.
That's just my opinion, and it's not based
on also, if I may, really quick, one last thing. You don't think that this belief already happened when we were at the bottom, where we had 31.22 on Bitcoin?
No.
No.
Because we seem to, when we dropped from 6 to 3, that was like, wow, everybody were shocked. 6,000 was the line in the sand, so to speak.
Yeah,
no?
But if you guys listen, I don't know if anybody's in any other trading rooms. I'm in 2 other trading rooms, and I watch and I listen. Nobody was shocked. Nobody was phased. This was like, you know, ho hum, kind of a yawn. Yeah, nothing. I mean, nobody was even phased.
Yeah, that Bill is actually my big problem here. That for some reason nobody is phased about this drop. It's crazy, you know. I still believe that we should see 4 blocks here. You know, so up in that block, another high, 1 more high here, and then a downwards move, and then a breakout. Anyway, guys, you know, the thing about this webinar is that we can discuss these things. We know this is a possibility now, so let's just watch out for that. And there's nothing really further that we can do or discuss, actually. Just be careful. It's a great buying opportunity. And yes, go ahead.
Sorry, it's David again, Marius. Just the Bitcoin Cash, the resistance level that you spoke about, I didn't pick it up. For Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, you just said it.
Okay, the Bitcoin Cash level is actually a really nice level. That level here, according to my data, is 472. See this blue line here? Let me just make that a little bit thicker. There we go. Is that level there? Let me move. I'll move this target there. It's about 474.
Okay.
Now, if that happens there, because I'm a big fan of Bitcoin Cash, been trading that and made a lot of money on this, you know, like here, right at that top. What frustrates me is, can you guys remember when here on 22 June, I think, when the entire market spiked, and then Bitfinex, let me see, it was 26 June, when Bitfinex suddenly went offline.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. So I missed it, and I sold everything here because I wanted to place the orders and sell everything that I had there. And you know, I traded a lot of Bitcoin Cash, like you know, over 6 figures, and I literally sold it. And I came back here on the bottom and bought. I didn't sell all of it, but came here on the bottom and bought it all back here. And now we're moving upwards again. So if that happens and we get to that point, I tell you now, I'm going to sell there. Because again, we are looking at these 4 patterns here, and let me just draw that in again. That is a potential high point. I want to see these 4 breakouts, you know, or 4 stabs into that level. And I do believe that we are going to have this one here. See there, for the guy who asked that question there, sorry, man, I keep missing your name. What's your name? Is it David?
David, ja man.
Okay, David. Sorry man, ek vra om verskoning daar. Ek moet jou naam neerskryf op my voorkop. Okay, so we get into these levels here, and I do believe that we're going to get into that level there. And then, guys, if this happens, that we are going to have the drop, we are going to make the most money in farming ever. This is incredible. Because you can sell there, come back and buy, because it is going to go lower, especially in Litecoin. If we can time that correctly, 120, you sell 30, 40, 50% there. It's kind of like more than double the amount of cryptos.
Yep.
You know,
hey,
so
Marius,
yeah, sure.
I had thought for a moment that when I was looking at the pattern here of Bitcoin, I thought I had saw something like the 3 fallen peaks. I texted you that on Twitter.
Okay.
And if you go back to the Bitcoin chart, it almost seems like you have a peak, then you have a valley on the bottom there at 10,000. Now you got a peak on top there. You have a valley. Now we're going into a peak again. And it seems like the breakout is only going to come after that third peak, you know? So we're going to go up to that. We're going to drop down, and then the breakout starts.
It looks like it, yeah. And you see, this is great. We are starting to identify these patterns now. Everything works in patterns, and they sometimes come and bite us in the back. But you're right. So are you saying that we can head up into this level here and then one more drop?
That's right, because that'll create the third peak, and then we have that valley, and that valley usually is the lowest valley that we get in a 3 falling peak pattern. And then once that happens, then it goes through a breakout.
The other thing is also this, remember this, if you look at this yellow channel that we have, okay, I want to show you something here. Bitcoin has never ever broken out of this yellow channel. It's gone up and down, up and down. Now, Bitcoin has broken out of this channel here. When it breaks out of that channel, it may now form a different channel. Let's just have a look at this now. This parallel channel that will actually go this way. That could be a probability, you know, something like that. So,
Maurice, I got a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
The 22 MAE on all the charts, it looks like it's not favoring heading on up to that box. Might it change pretty quick?
The 22 MAE.
Yeah, the brown line. Yeah, that one. It's sort of telling me we're going to go down unless it makes a abrupt change.
Yeah, the 20 MAE doesn't really got a factor in what's happening here much. You know, what the biggest factors here is on the bottom. Do you see this 2B algo?
See.
The pink line, and those are the bigger factors. These are more, they're more shorter term. When you log into 30 minutes, you can still use that as an indicator because that's the mid-Bollinger Band. But look at what happens here. Sorry, there's just a lot of stuff. But if I do this with the Bollinger Band, and so let me just put the bottom one on too. Yeah, you can't really see that. I just need to clear the chart. But anyway,
the green one.
Yeah, see this the outside, the top and the middle, the top and the bottom Bollinger Band. It's starting to move upwards. So if you look at the Bollinger Band, then that's okay. But that's not really the major indicator that I would use.
Okay, thank you.
But while we talk about that, I just want to mention something else here for you guys. When we look at this, remember I said there are two mother of all indicators, which is this one here, the 2B that is going to cross the Python y-axis and the 24B that will cross the 3B. This is huge, 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 huge. Now, this should have actually crossed by now. And this is also one of the reasons that I'm thinking that we are going to have a fake breakout. It's going to go up to this level here and then drop, because these have not yet crossed. They should have crossed by now on the daily. And I believe that this can go sideways a little bit more up till year 21, 23 perhaps. And then we're going to have a drop, and where they then going to drop and they're not going to cross yet. So that will be the other indicator. Remember this, I've been talking about the two mother of all indicators. If they cross at the same time, that is a clear indicator that Bitcoin is going to go to $80,000. Unless they cross, you can't call 80. You can call 20, 22, but not 80 yet.
Okay, because Marius, that's exactly what I was going to ask, especially as the previous guy brought up the literally the other literally algo line that you have. Because then my question was going to be, then, really and truly, with the drop that we're calling, I know that previously we've spoken of the 2B algo crossing the Python Y, and as well as the 3B algo and the 24 crossing. Because then my obviously question was going to be, well, if they do cross, does that then negate the fact of obviously us forming these lower lows?
Yeah, exactly. And you see that should have crossed by now, in my opinion. So it didn't cross yet, and that is one of the reasons why I also say that, listen, we just need to be a little bit careful here. I don't know. I think on Monday we were talking about these two indicators. Wasn't that correct? When we did that emergency video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now see, since Monday and now Friday for me, Australian time, this is not good. This should have crossed long ago, because look at that upward spike here. If you take that projectile, that should have crossed by now. The green should have crossed the 300, and it's not. So regardless of this drop, regardless of that drop, it should have actually been a lot more narrow by now.
But Mariusz,
sorry, Amir. Just one more quick thing. Literally, with this rise up to possibly the 12,700, do we not think that might possibly literally move? Literally have a possibility of us having the crossings of the algos line.
Not in such a short period of time, because if it's now 19 and you look at 1, 2, or 3 days, 3 days won't bring that closer, because remember, it looks like it's close, but it's not really.
Okay.
That can take. My problem here is that even 3 days, even if they touch, now that will be a good indicator for us as well, because if they go higher, okay, sometimes these are lagging indicators, so we just have to be careful of that too. But if they cross and go over and stay above the Python y-axis, then we're good. Because let's go to Binance, BNB. See what happened here with Binance? I want to show you this quickly. See how this pink line went above the Python y-axis and then for a while just ran along it and just kept there. We could have that as well. And if that is the case, we could have this kind of drop here, but just on a bigger scale. Remember, BNB is actually showing where the rest of the market is going, and we said we always have to take into account what happens in BNB is what happens in cryptos at the moment. Now, we said last time that we are, that's actually really interesting. We could be, in Bitcoin, we could be there now, because I'm looking at these indicators. It could be that the play that we are going to see is a up now and then a down, and that down can be further as well. It just means it's a down, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which takes us to about 6, 7, 8, which also takes us to about the end of this month. But here you can clearly see how it stayed above it, and if you go back to Bitcoin, you can see that as well, where the 2B will go above it and stay alongside it and then move upwards. Everything I look at here says to me that there's a possibility of one more drop.
Marius, don't forget to read that WhatsApp message I left you. That's very interesting what I sent you yesterday. And it's amazing that I sent it to you before listening to your webinar today.
You are the wizard.
No. Bitcoin is the wizard.
This looks a lot like a 3 inside up pattern over here, where you have that one, yesterday and today, and then we'll get a little bit of down, and we get 2 more legs going up. But the overall trend to me looks like it's still coming down, and there's a new channel forming.
Yeah, I just read your message. Thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that guy again? You said 2 or 3 webinars ago that Python y-axis could be broken and then we're going to go way down. Is that still a possibility?
No, what I said is this, guys. Just understand me wrong. Don't understand me wrong. What I meant was this. I said that if we go up, and this is still a probability, remember this, most people, they want to discredit people like Tony Vase, who's calling for a 2,000 Bitcoin. You know, I don't know why people want to discredit other people. Just listen to their information, take it heed, understand it, why are they saying it, and then plan your plan. Tony Vase may still be correct. This market, if it goes up here and it gets rejected and it does this, think about this now. If it drops through this red line, you have to be very, very careful. I will sell everything if the following happens. Now see this Python y-axis here? That one there, for Bitcoin specifically. If this line comes and it breaks that red line, and it comes and it breaks the Python y-axis, guys, I'm out of Bitcoin and every cryptocurrency. Believe it or not, I'm not going back, because I will then wait. And I tell you now, Tony Vase will be correct, because Bitcoin will go all the way down here to 2,000. As a matter of fact, my figure is $100. It's
Right.
$100 Bitcoin. Yeah, you imagine. Yeah, exactly. Because remember, it won't stay there. My data shows as the lowest point, it shows $100. But 2,000 is the medium. So Tony Vase is not wrong. And I know there's big people attacking the poor guy. I mean, you know, but then, you know, you'll have a big, strong move upwards again. It won't stay there for long.
Marius, that would be disbelief. Then you've got this. Then you've hit disbelief.
Yeah.
There
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't believe
it. But you know, I'm not fearful for that, you know, because if I sell here, guys, if any of us actually sell here on the top here, and we come back and we buy a 2,000 Bitcoin, I mean, yeah, that will be the best buy ever, because I do see cryptos going extremely high. And remember, guys, we've always said, I know there's a well-known guy who's also in the crypto world who said, yeah, this is the low of Bitcoin. That low of 3,125 or whatever. And he called this low. He's like the only one in the world who called this low, you know, while there are 50 other people in the world, maybe 1,000 other people who's called this low too. But what I'm saying is, I've always said, I am not going to regard this as the low in Bitcoin. I will never, ever do that. I did it last year. I called the low and Bitcoin went to 590 whatever, and I thought I was smart. But then Bitcoin would drop lower to 3,200. So I'm not that smart. We can't say this anymore, not anymore in cryptos. You have to keep in mind that that low there could be broken very easy. Let me show you why. Okay, let's have a look at EOS.
Hey, Marius, before you go to EOS though, didn't we break, I'm just as an example, Ethereum broke the Python. Did it not just a day or two ago?
No, but Ethereum is different. Look, Ethereum has never ever broken the Python y-axis. See, the Python y-axis is above there.
Oh, then I've looked at your graph wrong. I apologize.
Yeah. You see, I'm talking of Bitcoin. In this case, remember, Bitcoin will be the leader. Yeah, Bitcoin will be the leader for going down. You can forget about any other crypto. But going up now, Bitcoin is not the leader. Going down, Bitcoin is the leader. Now, if you look at EOS, for example, who would have thought? Me neither. You know, that EOS will drop here to $3. I mean, that's crazy. Can you see what can happen with Bitcoin as well? Easy. Breaks out of its channel there, and look at that. Look at this EOS. It broke below the Python y-axis, and then it broke every single support line. There's nothing holding EOS anymore. The low point here on the bottom was $1.60. EOS, you can't believe it, but that's why it's a good buy for me. And I got back into it. And NEO, strong support, it broke down. But okay, look at NEO as well now. The lowest point was, let me put that in. So never ever say that we can't go and break the low. Look that little distance there. I mean, it's crazy stuff. So let's go back to Bitcoin. It's not impossible, Bill, you know, that we can have disbelief here at 2,000. I'm not saying it's going to happen, guys, but it's nice that we can be like adults and discuss this and take this into account. We have to.
But markets usually do go and test the bottom before they go back up. So there is no, there is a chance that we go and test the bottom again, Marius. A high chance of that as well.
Yeah, and part of us, our indicator is. Yeah, and guys, our indicator is very clear. The indicator is the Python Y axis.
But honestly, Marius, do you think we can compare price action on EOS and Bitcoin?
No.
And the charts?
No,
Yeah, we can't. It's just a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is like a, you know, it's a king of the hill, so to speak. Everybody looks up at Bitcoin action. Everybody else follows it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least from what I've seen over the year, a couple of years I've been following it. So EOS, honestly, I lost money on EOS. And I went in twice on it at 5 something and then at 4 something, and both times I took a loss to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have to be very careful.
I mean, I see a very small possibility of us testing literally the all-time lows for Bitcoin. I think that literally there's way too many buy orders literally scattered out, going all the way down for it to test the all-time lows again. I mean, in a very extreme circumstance, war was to happen, Deutsche Bank blows up and literally contagion spreads around the world. If we're talking that kind of scenario, then yeah, all bets are off. But if we're talking about a normal market where Bitcoin is dropping and everything else is ticking along as normal, Bitcoin, I don't see $3K, $2K, $100 in Bitcoin again.
Yeah,
never say never in the markets. They can do anything they want with the markets. That's
but we did put in solid bottom, I think, at 3,000. This is so many technical analysis prove that. And you've got volume, you've got, you know, upper, the channels going, everything is moving on it, and it's at 3x already, or 400%, right? From 3,000.
But markets always come back. Markets always come and bite us in the backside and do the exact opposite of what you think.
That's true. There is something that I've been reading, and maybe this will make sense to everyone. I mean, I'm trying to understand, but I think it makes sense. There is a comparison to CME, you know, futures, and every time, you know, futures they gap up on the weekend. So Monday, they don't, you know, they're closed on the weekend. Bitcoin trades 24/7. So when the price is moving on the weekend, it's going to gap up based on the previous close. And Bitcoin very frequently goes back and fills that gap on the downside. So right now there is, I think there's an 8,500 level outstanding on the CME gap. So it could, I thought it was going to happen this time because it was almost, what, 9,100, I think it was the low.
It's not only that one gap, Boris. Sorry to interrupt you. There's a second gap at 7,200 around.
Yeah, but that was filled earlier, wasn't it? That was not filled yet?
No, it's not filled. If you go back and look at it, it's not filled yet.
Okay.
Guys,
yeah,
just
so
quickly,
those could be potentially, they could be, I'm sorry, Mark, they could be the ones that we come back and fill. But when we're talking about 3,000 or lower, that's like complete disaster in Bitcoin. Something, I don't know what has to happen.
Yeah, that's
just my
true.
opinion.
Yeah, no, that's true. Guys, let's just quickly get KBC some information on that as well. I spoke to Tony de Gouveia and a bunch of other people associated with Karatbars. I spoke to them about 2 or 3 days ago. Now, I went and studied KBC myself, got a lot of data out of it, contacted some of their high-level management. I couldn't get hold of Harold Zeiss. I am busy looking at contacting him. I'm waiting for him to get back to me. Okay, here is what I found about Karatbars. I believe that Karatbars is a solid company. I don't believe it's a scam. From what I've studied, I don't see scam. But there are thousands of articles in the world calling Karatbars a scam. Most of those are people that are negative. They've lost money in Karatbars, and it is substantiated, some of those claims. Now, remember that I'm an approved auditor for the Coordinator General in Australia. They use me to do high-level audits on oil and gas companies. And when you do high-level audits for the Coordinator General, you must have objective evidence. For example, one audit that I did was a major hazard facility in Curtis Island in Australia, where they built a $20 billion oil refinery plant, and I went and did an audit on that specific plant without mentioning names now. Now, the audit was regarded as a very high-level audit. So I know what I do when I investigate companies. That's the only reason I'm saying it, not to brag. Okay, I don't want to brag. I don't need to brag. I'm just saying that I did something similar with Karatbars. I look at data and I look if it's substantiated objective evidence. Now, the company is a solid company from a financial perspective. You can't take this company to the New York's Attorney General and say that they are doing anything unethical. I've ticked off 63 boxes that says that they're doing everything correct, and also found evidence that they are working with Securities and Exchange Commission in America as well as worldwide on making sure that what they do is compliant. No company that wants to run a scam will go so far as to make sure they are compliant in regulations. There are two things, in my opinion, that the company is doing terrible. Number one, their support. You send them a support ticket, they may never come back to you. And if you're one of those lucky people that win the lotto ticket, they will come back to you. And then they answer your question wrongly. And you have to send them another ticket and say, but listen, I meant this. And I don't know what's happening with their support. It's really terrible. If they just change their support, people will feel a lot more better. Because there's nothing worse that you send an email or a support ticket and people don't come back to you. The second thing, yeah?
Yeah, just on that Karat bit, it's Richard here. I sent you an email on that. But obviously the biggest concern with a lot of us who have got in, not as part of their multi-level marketing, but just as people investing, we thought that we would be able to get that money out. So that's probably the biggest distrust from the investor side. Not so much, like it looks great to convert it to gold and say, well, I've got all this money sitting there. If you can't get it, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah. Now, the second thing is with regard to Karatbars is the fact that their marketing is completely terrible, guys. They don't send any positive messages out in a overly fashion, you know. They allow the market to dominate the storyline of scams. Although they're doing it a little bit, they can do it better. So those are the two bad things. The worst thing that has happened with Karatbars over the last period of time is the fact, exactly what you say now, Richard, is the fact that you have put your money in KBC and you can't get it out. There's no way to get it out. Now, this was my biggest concern when I spoke to them and said that people don't care about what's happening in Karatbars and the scams and all this stories going on. But people care about the fact that they can't get their money out. You can only convert your 100 KBC in 1 gram of gold. You can actually convert into as many gold coins that as you want. You can convert into 1,000 grams. But the problem is you can only get 1 gram a day out of Karatbars. Now, from what I hear and what I spoke to the company, is that they have now created these machines. The machines will be available very shortly. If I say shortly, it looks to me like by the end of August, somewhere here in September, where those machines will go out worldwide. As a matter of fact, here in Brisbane, Australia, I've already made contact with the person who's going to put one of those machines in his fast food. It's actually a Chinese restaurant, a very big one, well known, very prominent one. He's going to put it inside his store. I will be able to go in and then claim and pull my gold out. So 100 KBC, I can convert it into grams, and there is the, from what I hear, there's no limit on how much you can extract. Now, what I have done, and I'm saying this to everybody, just be a little bit more patient. Now, I know it's difficult because there are some people that put their entire portfolios into KBC. If you have got 2, 3, 4, or 5 million in KBC, guys, I tell you now, jump on the plane, fly to Stuttgart in Germany, go and see the company and claim your gold. I know of somebody who has done that, and if you want to do that, if you've got that amount of money in there, you better fly down to Stuttgart, stand at the door, knock on the door, speak to Harold Zeitz and tell him you want your gold. They will give it to you. I'm sure they will. Now, I personally, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, and that's actually also, that was one of my concerns, because the video link that you have sent us from Tony in Vegas, there I paid well attention to what he said about cashing out the gold. And so there was also somebody asking on that call if we can get out only 1 gram of gold as it is stated on the website per day. And he said, no, that's like kind of bug. He can get as much as he wants, you know.
Yeah, and the company hasn't announced it yet, guys. But there's also another thing now. If you are a certain level in the company with regard to your KYC, they're going to allow you to use your BUNV. Remember, you can convert your KBC into bonus univals. A bonus unival is gold. It's another term for gold, a BUNV. That BUNV will be able to lie on your card, and you will be able to use that to pay for certain things. But it won't happen overnight. The company talks about a 3-month period where that will be available. Now, I've personally got confirmation that this is where the company is heading to. The company is heading into such a big phase, you're going to see that Karatbars is going to explode. Although the price of KBC is very low, what I have done, and I own over, I think it's about 12 kilos of gold now. What I have done, guys, and I'm not saying to everybody to do this. If you've got the money, do it. If you haven't got the money, don't do it. But you can literally now, look at this, the price of KBC. I'm going to give you an example here. It's 3 cents. If you spend $3,600 right now, that means you can buy 100,000 KBC. If that KBC is now in your back office and you've bought it, you log in and you convert the 100 KBC into 1 kilogram of gold. You convert your KBC into BUNV. 1 kilogram of gold is worth $46,000. So I've literally only used 3,600 to convert it into 46,000. I did it when it was $6, 6 cents. So I spent $6,000. So I've got about 12 kilograms of gold now, and I'm leaving it there. Plus, I've also got about 300,000 or 400,000, somewhere around there, KBC. So I'm leaving it there, and that is a small percentage of my portfolio. Don't spend more than 2, 3, 4, or 5% of your portfolio to do that. And listen to me very careful. In your gut, if you feel uncomfortable to do it, don't do it. Listen to your gut. Listen to your gut very clearly. I personally feel comfortable with the data that I have to park my money there for another month, 2, 3, or 4. Because what is coming in KBC is going to be kind of like the gold standard. You will be able to take that they call it 0.1 gram. It's kind of like having $1 in your hand, but it's backed by gold. So it's zero. So it's 0.1 gram of gold, and you can use that to pay for things anywhere in the world. It's like carrying the money in your pocket. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Marius, it's Don. How can that make business sense? I mean, there's guys on this call I was listening to earlier, like myself, who've got real goals. How can you convert $4,000 into $40,000? How is this business going to sustain itself? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it doesn't make sense, but this is when people run away.
It's going to go bust, isn't it? if it's collecting $4,000 and giving away 40,000, how can that make sense?
The reason it makes, okay, this is the thing. How many people do you know of is now buying KBC and converting it into 1 kilogram of gold? Nobody. I can't find anybody who's willing to do it because people are running away from KBC. Now, it's because there's blood on the streets. There's blood on the street.
Yeah, but it's not logical, is it?
I know it's not logical, but the companies look, soon you won't be able to buy KBC. It's going to disappear. Remember, because the company told us, they said that KBC is going to be converted into what? The gold standard coin. Okay? KBC, this is one other reason why KBC is not really, why the volume and all that sort of stuff is not on here. You see the market cap here? It's going to disappear, guys. This is what I hear. When that disappears and it converts into gold standard coin that the company have told us, it's gone. You won't be able to do it. Not many people know about this, and not many people want to convert because they're scared.
No, I wish you lots of luck, but it just makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
It also didn't make sense to buy Bitcoin at 3,250.
Oh, yes.
How many people bought Bitcoin at 3,250?
Sorry to interrupt again, but Don.
Marius?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's TG. Okay, so when they collapse the KBC coin, what is going to happen to people that are holding that coin?
It's going to be in your back office as a KBC coin, but you will be able to convert KBC into gold or into gold standard coins. It won't go away.
So what happens to people that have got KBC coin on other exchanges?
You'll be able to probably convert it into gold standard coin or into BUNV. You'll move it back to the company's exchange. This is what I'm thinking, you know. So for the time being, what I recommend is just hold and wait and see what happens to the company.
Just a real quick question, Marius. You said something about Stuttgart. I was driving and I missed it. Did you say that they actually are giving out gold for KBC right now, if we were to go there?
No, what I'm saying is this, guys. If you've been, now I'm going to make it very clear because it seems like there's a bit of misunderstanding there. If you own $4, $5, or $6 million worth of money and you've converted that into KBC, and I know there are people that have done it, and that is maybe 80, 90, or 100% of your portfolio, then you better go to Stuttgart, because I wouldn't let my money lie there. I want my money out. Go there and claim your gold. Talk to them and make a conversation with them and get your money out. Now, the other thing is also, if you have invested 100% of your portfolio, let's say you've got $10,000 and you converted 100% of your portfolio into KBC, that's also not a very clever move. You better contact the company and try and get some of that money out and go and invest it rather in Ethereum, Bitcoin, or something else. I've always said from the beginning, when we said invest in KBC, I said invest long term. We are looking at 4 July onwards, where the company will, where you will be able to convert 100 KBC. This is what I heard, 100 KBC into 1 gram of gold. But I also said, don't invest your entire portfolio. And some people did. And we're working with those people. We are working with KBC. We're going to get their money back.
Marius, it's Amir here. Do you know what you can do with cash gold? Say you go to an ATM and you draw the paper money with the bit of, I think it's 0.1 gram of gold stamped on it. Do you know if you can actually take it to a gold merchant and they'll take it in and you get your cash for it?
Yes, let me tell you what I've done. We have taken 10 cards, like I've got these CaratBit cards. They've got 1 gram of gold in them, so that's 10 grams. Then I've got the paper money, which is 0.1 gram. And I took 20 of them. So I took 20 of those notes and 10 of those cards. Wendy and I went to Ansley Bullion, which is here in Brisbane. I had a meeting with them. You go in there, up in the lift, it's all secure, and then you get into this little pocket where they where you come and you buy your gold, and you go down the lift back in your car and you leave. Now, I went there, and I said to them, I want to exchange this gold for cash. They said, no problem. They took it in, tested it, they came back, they gave us the money for the 10 cards and the money for the $20, you know, the 0.1 gram that we had. They gave us the money, transferred it, not physical money, but they we had to put our card in, that's linked to my Westpac bank account. They had to put a code in, and they transferred the money over to the card. So I tested it myself, and it worked. And I lost about 13% in doing that whole transaction. So yes, you can do it. Ansley Bullion now sits with Carrotbit Gold. They took it away from us and gave us the cash for that.
Marius,
yes,
Richard here again. I did end up getting out completely because I was all in and I had 2.6 million coins, so I took a massive loss. On a positive note, I'm probably 30% up from where I got out, with other coins going up, which is good. And I might get back in, but I'm not really confident that I'll get my money, so I'm just waiting. I've still left some on the exchange. I might convert some back to KBC when I hear something positive, but I really want somebody to make a statement.
Yeah, Richard, keep an eye. I would definitely, guys, if you can afford it, go and just buy a small amount. I'm talking of these people now that have got $1 million. If you've got $1 million, go and spend $3,600, buy yourself 100 KBC, convert it into 1 kilogram of gold and hold it. Remember this, guys. This company is, in my opinion, they are so big. I didn't realize they were so big financial-wise. And they've got fingers all over the world. And they're actually a very strong financial company. That how are they going to figure out how everybody's going to get the gold is something that's actually really interesting, actually, and is very simple to explain. It's very simple that people don't want to buy now. Who's buying? Nobody's buying. I'm buying. What did Warren Buffett do? He buys when everything is at the bottom. Before you know, this may jump up to 40 cents. It can happen at any time. Anytime. You look at what silver is doing now. Look at that breakout there. I don't know what gold is doing, but gold is going to break out too. This thing at any time is going to catch people off guard. Once the real news comes out, and I wonder why the company is not giving the real information. I can tell you what I hear from the company, but it doesn't mean anything unless you hear it from Harold Zeiss. But they tell me that you will be able to use your BUNV to buy things. You can buy a car. You will be able to buy food with it. But they haven't announced it yet. But if you log into your back office, let me log in and I'm going to show you where I've seen that. They've actually just last week, out of nowhere, they made it available and said that people with platinum members can do it. Let me just log in while you guys can ask questions here. I just need to get my 2FA.
Marius, it's Alex again.
Yep.
Yeah, I just checked some flights because I know in Hong Kong they have also a really big office. So I'm not so deep invested with my portfolio. I have like around 2 kilograms in gold, but I would still rather claim it than lay it around until Bitcoin jumps up to 22, and I would get out like plus minus zero profit regarding to what I invested with my Bitcoins. So what I will basically do is I live between Kiev in Ukraine and Bangkok. I will go soon back to Bangkok, and to fly to Hong Kong is just a 2-hour flight, and it is kind of cheap. So I will actually go there in Hong Kong to their office and try to claim my 2 kilos in gold, and then I can report back to our group here and update the people if that was actually possible, even like with 2 kilos of gold, and they actually paid me out then in my gold.
Okay, awesome. Yes.
I would love that. I would love that because I will do the same. I will fly there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I will go around. I don't know when I will have time because I have to fly for business to the Philippines.
Yeah, no, definitely go and do it, because if there are people with a lot of gold, you knock on the company's door and just be very vigilant. You make the statement, it's your gold. You want your gold. This is what the company promised. They say you can get your gold. Guys, I quickly want to pay your attention here to platinum. Have a look here. I am under CaratBit, and when you go here to KYC, now I'm a platinum member. I paid for that a long time ago, and I'm a platinum member. But this pitched up about a week ago. Use BUNV in Carat Pay. Now that facility is not yet available for us as platinum members. But what I hear is that the company is going to make an announcement very, very soon. And all these things that you have in BUNV. Now remember this, guys. I'm saying it again. If you buy 100,000 KBC now for 3,600, you can go into your back office and convert it into BUNV, and it becomes worth about $46,000. It's about 1 kilogram of gold. BUNV is simply gold. Okay, 1 gram of gold is 1 B. I think it's 100 or 10 BUNV. I can't remember now. But the point is, you can use your BUNV on your Carat Pay card. That card that I showed you once live, that card, I can use it on there, and I will be able to buy a car, I'll buy food, I'll pay for whatever I want. This is coming. This is a promise from the company, but it's not yet available. Look at this here. Again here, a Testament member as well. I don't know what a Testament member is, but I'm platinum. So it's coming. I tell you what, just be patient. Why is the company not coming out with all these things verbally yet? I think they're trying to burn, I don't want to use the name burn KBC, but they're trying to get rid, I think, of KBC. And as soon can happen, I tell you now, KBC is going to disappear. You can only then convert it into C gold standard coin. And bam,
can I just confirm that there is no rush to convert KBC to BUNV, or should I really?
There is no rush. There is no rush. Because remember this is the other thing, guys. Harold Zeiss said to Tony de Gouveia, and I'm giving you this information now privately. Harold said to Tony de Gouveia, Tony, convert a third of your KBC into gold and keep the other 2/3. And Tony apparently said to him, why? And Harold Zeiss apparently just laughed, and he said, you'll see why very soon. So Tony didn't even know why, but Tony has converted a third of his KBC into gold. He's the biggest, or one of the biggest whales. I incidentally found a guy who's bigger than Tony. His name is Craig Van Zyl. If I tell you what kind of money these guys have in KBC, it's astronomical. And these are not dumb guys. They're very, very smart people. Now, Craig Van Zyl, I can get him on a call as well for you guys, but it's irrelevant really, Be patient with KBC. I tell you now, many people are going to make some big money here.
Marius, this is Jim. I've got a question. My father-in-law is actually still over in Germany. He's actually in Stuttgart. So do you have to, you may not know this, but do you have to have an account for them to give you the gold, or could I have him as my agent get my gold for me?
I don't know about that, but I would assume that they will only probably give it to you, unless you perhaps add him as a beneficiary to your account.
Okay.
And you may have to contact the company. Look, if there's anybody on the call here that can go to Stuttgart, go and walk into the company, go and talk to Harold Zeiss and the staff, and tell them, for example, listen, I've got 1 kilogram of gold with you guys. I'm coming here to pick it up. And see what the company does, because remember, it's your gold. If you can't get your gold there, and I'm not trying to be vicious here, guys, but if you can't get your gold and you go to the Attorney General, the New York Attorney General, and you tell them that, listen, here's Karatbars, I can't get my gold, they don't want to give it to me, here's the situation. The New York Attorney General is going to look into Karatbars very seriously. That's why I believe that this company, they're just not getting pushed to give the gold out. And I've got confirmation that they do have, I think, 1.5 or 1.6 ton of gold. Have a look at the paper document. The company sent that paper document out just recently. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, about their statements about when they're going to deliver certain things. They kind of like setting up these big banks all around the world. Something big is happening here, and the company won't invest these millions and millions of dollars to be compliant, setting up all these applications around the world. They mean business.
If they're confident, you think they want the price low?
For now, I think they want the price low. I can't understand the dynamics behind it, guys, but I can tell you what I see in my data. I just see in my data that something big is coming in Karatbars. I'm patiently holding my gold there, and I'm just waiting.
Marius, do you have any information regarding the address of maybe the Hong Kong office? Because I'm trying to find it and I cannot find like the exact address. You can only find the YouTube videos of the openings of their offices.
I don't know, but guys, I'm going to give you an email address. You can email this company, but use it sparingly. Please don't bombard them with.
It's fine. I'm actually German. I will just call them then in Stuttgart and ask them.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to give you an email address where you can call them, and Alexander, you can email them too. But I'm asking you to use this email address sparingly. Don't bombard them.
Sure.
Otherwise, they're going to block that email address, and then we can't contact them. The email address is very simple. This is Harold Zeiss's old email address. The email address is ceo@karatbars.com. So maybe just email them, Alexander, and tell them, listen, I want to come and visit the office in this area. What is your address?
Yeah, okay, I will. Thank you.
I'm just going to have a look and see if I've got the document. Tony de Gouveia sent me a document. I'll just upload that in the members area as well. Anyway, guys, any other questions here?
So I was actually, I lost my connection when I wanted to finish my sentence. So I will fly into the next 2 weeks over there then to Hong Kong and will update everybody how, if I could claim my 2 kilo in gold then.
Yeah, awesome.
Marius?
Yes.
I'm considering doing some farming, but I'm not so sure if it's going to be too dangerous and that I should just hodl.
I don't know if anybody want to answer that question there.
On KBC or on another coin? I didn't get that.
On Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. I'm considering using this next dip to farm, but if it's such a fast thing, I might be better off just trying to hodl.
You place open orders and then you can go to sleep.
Okay, because I'm in Pennsylvania, United States, and all this stuff happens in the middle of the night, and I miss opportunities.
Yeah, and I've had orders execute in the afternoon when I wasn't looking at my phone. So place open orders and then you can change them. I've been doing that for the last 3-4 months. Got a string of open orders to sell Litecoin above 200. And then if the game plan changes, I go in and delete the sale order and place another order, either to buy or sell, depending on, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Placing orders work. That's a good strategy. Also, what I do personally, if this might help you, I keep half of it. I hodl. I never touch it, and I trade with the other half.
Right. Well, I was gonna keep some in back, but I'm thinking if we get a good drop here, it would be a good opportunity to farm and increase my number of coins.
When you
I've got a reasonable sized portfolio, but I'd like to increase it.
When you place an open order, you're going to be more first in line. You're likely to get it filled. when you wait till you see the action happening, it's sometimes too late to get your orders filled. That's why Marius tells you to get out before the peak. Because once you crest the peak on one of these rallies, everybody's trying to go out the door.
Right. And it's too narrow.
Right, and then your order doesn't get filled and you see the price drop, so then you want to lower your price and then the whole thing spirals.
Right.
It's all psychology, human behavior, fear and greed. You got to remember those things.
Yes. Thank you.
That's why it's so important to write your plan down on paper and constantly be evaluating and reevaluating it, Matt.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop the recording here. Thank you very much for everybody that has been online today. I hope this added a lot of value, and we'll stop the recording right now.